We're not going to be on the air live tonight. Washington County Quorum Court is also tonight. There was a conflict on that. So
Yes, it is. I knew the school board at the same time. They're on their own chat.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Well, so we just have to guess if we're on the recording.
Mr. Bilby, he's recording. He's ready to go when you are, sir.
Okay. Welcome to the February 17th, 2011 meeting of the Fayetteville Telecommunication Board. And the first order of business will be to call the roll. We have a quorum, so unlike a couple of past meetings, seems like in the last few months we actually have an official roll call. Mr. Cuddy, and Ms. Bowman, Mr. Davis, and Mr. Weaver, and Mr. Pennington,
Here.
and Mr. Russell is known to be planning to be absent. Mr. Spencer. I haven't met Mr. Spencer. I'm hoping to meet him right now, tonight, this morning. Anyway, stepping forward on well, what I listed to do at this moment was to welcome the new members, and you do have one up here. So welcome. Would you tell us a few words about yourself?
What do you want to know, Mr. Shepherd?
What's your interest in this particular board and work or anything that you can tell us?
I'm grandchildren, rather fascinating. I'm a grandchildren, right? I worked for the last 5 or 6 years on their corporate team, corporate sales team, and did all sorts of stuff in there, for government, education, and small and medium-sized businesses. And communications as well as technology field, and now that's one down there to volunteer serve. Good.
Well, good. Best Buy always has a good technical team, don't they? As well as executive sales team.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for joining the board. And to those who previously served and are not here now, I'd like to say thank you for what they did while they were here. No, one member had been doing 10 for a good while, but we hope that I know his health is getting better, and maybe someday he comes back and we're coming up. Okay, the next thing would be to approve the October and December 2010 minutes. I believe those are the two that we ended up with in the package. Anything to quibble about on those? No?
I'll move the minutes be approved as written. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, on the agenda, which you may not have an opportunity to look at, is there anything in particular you would like to add, or if we believe it, we will go along if you choose.
I'd like to discuss at least our meeting location. And as much as I like being in the city council chambers, it's a bit imposing, I would imagine, for some audience members. And I think we're the only board that actually meets in here. So,
Actually, the finance.
okay. Well, I
agenda then? We just agree to that before you,
Well, I made a motion to.
I have to second that motion.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Government channel television board.
Good evening, gentlemen. It has been quite a while since we've had an opportunity to have a full meeting of the board, which I appreciate very much that we're all here tonight. One of the things that you'll have from me this evening, as well as from Ms. Shelley from your media, is our annual reports, which we have not been able to have an opportunity to present to the board and to the public. You have a copy of mine in your packet. What I would like to do, with your permission, is go through this report for the public that will be watching this meeting subsequent to this evening. 2010 was a great year, proved to be another eventful and fruitful year for the City of Fayetteville Television Center and access television programming for the residents of Fayetteville. In the last year, we continued to make improvements in technology, programming, and service to our citizens. This is a recap of our major accomplishments for the year 2010. This is not a comprehensive listing of all the things we've done to serve our citizens and our administration this past year. We continue to produce and telecast an average of 30 meetings of city boards, commissions, and committees every month, including the City Council, the Planning Commission, budget meetings, public input sessions, in addition to providing meeting support for Mayor's Town Hall meetings that are held in various locations around the city. We also provide all the technical, engineering, and facility support for the entire operation at the Television Center. We support and manage the efforts of our contracted public access television services provider, your media. We are staff support for you, the Telecommunication Board, and we provide video communication and presentation consulting services for every department in the city administration. Some of the significant, most visible changes that were made in the operation of the access channels and the television production facility in 2010. Number one, the name of the production telecast facility is now the City of Fayetteville Television Center, to more accurately reflect the city's role in providing access television services. Two, the name of the public access channel is now Fayetteville Public Access Television, to more accurately reflect the city's role in providing public access television services to the residents of Fayetteville and the city's stewardship of this channel. The migration of the Education Channel, the Government Channel, and Fayetteville Public Access Television, channels 14, 16, and 18, to the digital transmission format on Cox Communication Cable Systems, channels 217, 216, and 218, respectively, resulting in the Fayetteville Public Schools getting a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access and use of the Education Channel. Number four, the physical layout and configuration of the television center has been modified to create a more open and welcoming environment and provide more enhanced service to the residents of Fayetteville. In 2011, our plans include to continue to upgrade and support the infrastructure of our production facility, enhance our programming and program scheduling, find better ways to utilize technology to expand our services, increase the viewership of the access channels, and provide more information to our citizens. The staff at the City of Fayetteville Television Center is proud to be a part of the city's public service communication efforts and an essential part of the administration's efforts to make Fayetteville government more accessible and understandable to its citizens. Among our accomplishments in service in 2010, the staff at the City of Fayetteville Television Center examined its production programming and communications efforts to increase our service to our citizens in 2010 with no increase in budget or personnel. Among our accomplishments that we're proud of, we established an additional distribution channel, thereby making the government channel programming accessible through live streaming on the internet, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, easily accessed through the city's website at accessfayetteville.org. We took responsibility for the technical and programming support for the city's digital signage installation. We established a digital signage installation in the new district court building. We provided video production and distribution support for the educational component of LEED certification for the district court building. This was instrumental in attaining the building's LEED Gold certification. We played a key role in the migration of the access channels to digital transmission on the Cox Communications Cable System. The migration was accomplished with no technical issues and a total of 5 documented complaints, all of which were resolved satisfactorily. We were involved in and assisted with the Public Access Television Services request for proposal process to recruit an organization to provide enhanced public access television services for the city. We assisted and wrote, revised, and assisted in the negotiations to finalize the 2011 contract with the public access television operator for the city of Fayetteville. We assisted in developing and implementing a new structure and definition for the public access outsource provider and for Fayetteville Public Access Television. We provided consulting services for technology-related and video communications projects such as City Plan 2030, Today in America, and the city's IT assessment project. And we provided meeting support services for meetings such as mayor's town hall meetings, press conferences, and presentations. And we provided meeting support equipment to various users in the city administration. Among our accomplishments in programming, the staff at the City of Fayetteville Television Center is very proud of its accomplishments in programming for the year 2010. This year, the government channel won national recognition for its programming, garnering 3 Bronze Telly Awards. In addition to national award-winning programming, the staff at the City of Fayetteville Television Center has provided programming that continues to set the bar for government channel programming in the region. Some examples include the Green Your Life series, which presents information and tips about environmentally sustainable living. PSAs, those public service announcements, and other programming that help the city meet the communication component of its agreements to help improve water quality with the Beaver Water District. We produce promotional announcements and other programming support to motivate participation in the City Plan 2030 input sessions. Feedback that I received from the leaders of those sessions indicated to me that those promotional announcements greatly enhance their participation in those input sessions. We had the addition of an interview format program where the mayor highlights the city department program. We call that the Mayor's Corner. And every week he comes down to the studio and records an interview with a city department head or division head that helps inform our citizens about what these departments of the city do specifically. Like we had a great program with Terry Gully, who's the director of the transportation department, right in the middle of when we were going through all of the inclement weather in the last few weeks, to help the citizens understand how the transportation department helps keep our streets clear and goes and attacks those issues as those things come up to help keep our citizens safe. And we've expanded the use of the message board on our on-air messaging bulletin board as a communication tool used by more city departments than ever before. In addition to these specific accomplishments, the staff of the Fayetteville Government Channel produced the following in 2010. We produced and telecast 359 government meetings. That's an average of 30 a month. We produced and telecast 230 public service programs, an average of 19 a month. We produced and telecast, we produced 2 internal communications programs. Those are programs that we don't telecast on the government channel itself, but the production and technical crew at the television center produce those programs for internal communication. That could be something like a training program or a communication program. I would also like to point out, among those 230 public service programs, what we include in those are things that are not governmental needs, like this board, planning commission, city council. We recorded and telecast several times every single one of the over 16 public input sessions regarding the paid parking program that was implemented on Dixon Street. And we feel that that played a key role in helping our citizens become informed and stay informed through that entire process as that was implemented and as that was developed. We created and displayed 1,330 new bulletin board messages. These are single screen messages that go up on the bulletin board, on our bulletin board, that include information about upcoming meetings, meeting schedules, events that might be happening at the library, and agenda information for meetings that occur throughout the city. That's an average of 111 a month, or almost 4 for every day of the year. And we performed 1,873 DVD duplications. That includes several hundred for our continued process of converting our archival library from VHS tape to DVD for archival purposes. We also had several accomplishments that we're proud of in the area of technology for the City of Fayetteville Television Center. We continue to make improvements in our telecasting and production technology. Our goal continues to be and always will be to provide a technologically current teaching and production facility for use by both the public and city staff. I would like to point out that the City of Fayetteville Television Center is not just a telecast facility, it's not just a production facility, it's also a teaching facility. We continue to conduct in that facility with our public access outsource provider, Your Media. They have developed an unbelievable class schedule, and as we speak in February of 2011, they're conducting anywhere from six or more free classes every week at the television center to help our residents learn how to create video programming. So we're not just a place where you make television, it's a place where you learn how to do it as well. If you're a resident of Fayetteville, you can come down and take free classes and then use equipment that is there free. In our accomplishments in technology, we replaced the telecast automation controller. That was causing us some very significant issues in the first part of the year, as other people that were on the board previous were aware that was something that we were having significant issues with. This has resulted in almost eliminating system-related downtime and telecast failures due to controller and playback system issues. The channel uptime has increased to nearly 99%. This system has also reduced administration time by nearly 75%, freeing up personnel resources needed to enhance other services. This was one of the key components as we look through our accomplishments in 2010. We try to find out, well, how did we do all of this stuff with no increase in budget, no increase in personnel? We maximize our advantages that we have with technology. This was a key component in replacing the automation controller for our telecasting. That 75% improvement in administrative time went directly to providing other services to our citizens. The systems also allowed us to enhance those services because, again, we freed up more time and we don't have to spend as much time, many of us don't have to spend as much time trying to figure out what will happen this time. With the old one, it was something that happened on way too much of a continuous basis. We designed, obtained, and installed new industry current video editing systems which are now standardized throughout the facility. Previously, we had several different kinds of editing systems that were difficult to support, they were difficult to keep maintained, and they were difficult to keep current. We were given a one-time budgetary award from the City Council that allowed us to upgrade our editing systems. They're industry standard. I would put them up against any regional post-production house or television station. I would venture to say that any regional production facility anywhere in this area would be envious of the editing systems that we have. Those editing systems, there are 3 of those that are in that television center that are available free for public use. All you have to do is get certified to use it for a free class. You can come down and use it for free. We designed, obtained, and installed a new audio production control system for the studio. We remodeled and reconfigured our studio control room production equipment to allow for greater production flexibility. And we reconfigured our telecasting engineering infrastructure, enhancing our stability and reliability, and we created new and repurposed control and monitoring equipment in the telecast system, enhancing our technical quality, which is also always one of those things that is a high priority for us. In our accomplishments in management, the management of the City of Fayetteville Television Center accomplished several key initiatives in 2010, including redefinition of the role of the outsourced public access services provider, resulting in enhanced services for residents and a more clear management structure for the Fayetteville Public Access Television Channel. Writing, revising, negotiation, and approval of the 2011 contract with Community Access Television for outsourced public access television services. Research, development, and obtaining City Council approval for new operational policies for the government channel. Continued transferring the program archive from videotape to DVD. As of the end of 2010, the process is approximately 3/4 of the way completed, with over 2,000 programs we've transferred from videotape to DVD that will be able to be maintained in our archives for many, many, many years to come. We've enhanced service programming and production capacity with no increase in operational budget. We've continued our evaluation and assessment of the technical infrastructure of the television center. Continued our evaluation and assessment of government channel work processes. Our goal is always to try to figure out ways to leverage technology to enhance our services to our residents, to our city administration, and to our citizens. The mission of the City of Fayetteville Television Center is to be a best-in-class municipal television production and telecast facility. provide an industry-current teaching facility for the residents of Fayetteville, and to provide a place where Fayetteville residents may tell and share their stories through the medium of video and television. The mission of the Fayetteville Government Channel is to make Fayetteville government more accessible and understandable to the citizens of Fayetteville, to inform residents on city government, government services, and community life, and to facilitate the exchange of public information. We will continue to strive to accomplish our mission throughout 2010 and beyond, and 2011 and beyond, and to become an even more effective resource for the city administration and our citizens, as I like to say to our customers and staff. Let's make television. That is my report for 2010. Members of the board, I appreciate your listening and your attention. If you have any questions.
I think you've done a fantastic job at the Television Center. Obviously, the report that you gave shows the successes you've had there. I just add, I want to thank you for the tour that you gave us last week in the orientation session, or 2 weeks ago, and thanks for the materials. So I fully intend to come down and become a qualified producer for free, just so I can try out that editing book.
Well, we look forward to it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll second that. The report you gave is unbelievable, and some of the things y'all have accomplished this year is great stuff. And I'm gonna take you up on that as well, and come down and visit with you. And I hope you get one of these nice binders as well. Sorry I missed out. I thought we were snowed in and or snowed out, however you want to put that. But I definitely want to come down.
I would like to encourage anybody any member of the public, if at any time they wish to have an informal tour of the facility, talk to any of the staff down there about what we do, they're more than welcome to call. The number for the television center is area code 479-444-3434. The telephone number for the Fayetteville Public Access Television operation that's operated by Your Media is area code 479-444-3433. We'll be hearing from Ann Shelley, the Executive Director of Your Media, later in this meeting. She'll also be providing you with an annual and first quarter report, I believe, or a monthly report for January. It's not in the first quarter yet. I do have a few other things specific that I would like to share with you regarding some of the things that we're doing at the Television Center and some of the things that we're looking at in the future, in the very near future, if that's all right at this point. One of the first things that I'd like to share with you is that we're scheduling a day where both the staffs of both organizations are going to get together. And on Saturday, we're going to spend basically a work day where we're going to do a lot of spruce up and clean up. We've gotten approval to do some very minor renovations to the television center that will occur later this year, probably around late summer, as building services can free up the time and their resources to be able to do that. We're going to reconfigure a couple of walls and maximize some more space utilization down there. And I think that's one of the things that we're always trying to do is figure out how we can use space more effectively. It's a small space, but we try to make it work as best as possible. We did create a classroom because we have increased our classes so significantly that we felt it was appropriate to take a space and create a classroom specifically for that. And it will be a dedicated use space for that. And we want it to be warm, and we want it to be welcoming, and we want it to be conducive to good training. So we're going to be doing some painting. We're going to be doing some touching up on some stuff. So that's exciting for us to be able to do that, and we also like to be able to pitch in, and it really creates a sense of ownership for the staff. And before I go too far with that, I do want to give great kudos to the city staff for their work in 2010, and the staff of the public access operator, formerly Community Access Television, now Your Media. They continue to be a partner, a great partner in this effort that we have going forward. The first full week of March, I am going to implement a new program schedule that I gave to you in your addendum. One of the things that we have been, that we set a goal to accomplish in 2010. We were not able to accomplish this goal in 2010 because of some issues and because of some things that were higher priority to deal with. But this has been a goal that has been since the beginning of 2010, and that is to establish a regular program schedule. And what I mean by regular program schedule is that our citizens and our viewers can rely on a program being telecast essentially the same time, all the time. Right now, we don't have a real stable programming schedule. It's been one of those things that's been somewhat problematic to develop, and the reason for that is that meetings have variable lengths. You know, we might have a meeting that lasts 20 minutes, we might have a meeting that lasts 2 hours. Last city council meeting lasted 5.5 hours. So it can be a challenge to schedule around those kinds of things. But we put our heads together as a staff and we met that challenge because we felt like to enhance our viewers' experience, it would be good for us, for them to know every Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon is airport board meeting. You'll be able to set your DVR by it. I don't say VCR anymore, I don't think anybody has VCRs anymore. You would be able to set a recording by that. Now what you're looking at here is a 12-hour schedule. It goes from noon to midnight. This 12 hours from noon to midnight will repeat from midnight to noon. So anything that you see here that says PM after it will also be AM. Why is that? Because we have people that work second shift, we have people that work third shift, people that watch the government channel, and we want them to be able to have an opportunity to watch programming when it's convenient for them. And we also want them to have an opportunity to have to see it multiple times. What you'll see on this is you'll see a program schedule that repeats every week. So every week at every Thursday at 6 p.m. will be a quorum court meeting. Now, the reason for that is quorum court is actually it's the third Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. And we carry it live because it's a legislative body. Something we've been doing for a long, long time. Because it's live on a particular Thursday, we want it to be something where our viewers will know that every Thursday night at 6 p.m., whether it's live or whether it's recorded, I can tune in Thursday at 6 p.m. and watch Quorum Court. I can tune in on, I should have highlighted this one because it's this board's meeting. Every Wednesday at 4 p.m., every Wednesday at 4 p.m., I can tune in and watch the Telecommunication Board meeting. Every Wednesday at 4 a.m., I can tune in and watch the Telecommunication Board meeting. And we have plenty of space in this program schedule for every meeting to be telecast twice a week, which actually ends up with meetings like the Telecommunication Board that meets once a month. The Telecommunications Board meeting will actually be telecast 8 times every month. From one meeting to the next month's meeting, there will be 8 telecasts of that meeting. And we think that really enhances our viewers' experience because they have a lot of opportunities to watch it. It also gives us a lot of space. If you'll notice on Sunday is pretty blank. Well, we have long format programs that our viewers like to see. For example, the Gully Park concert series that we telecast every summer. They like to see those. Well, we need big blocks of time to do something like that. So that's why we have Sunday. First question that comes to mind is you see a week A and a week B. The only difference between week A and week B is on Tuesday evening. If you look at that real quickly. On week A, City Council, the week A schedule is when we carry the City Council meeting live, and that's at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays. On week B, we carry the City Council agenda session on Tuesday afternoon at 4:30. We carry that live. And not to get too confusing, but the live City Council agenda session will be for the following week's City Council meeting. So we can't follow that agenda session with the previous week's City Council meeting without it being confusing. So what we did, we put a 2-hour block of informational programming in between them to prevent that confusion, or to help alleviate that confusion. And that's the only difference from week to week that we'll see. This will provide many, many advantages, not just for our viewers, but for our staff as well. This is, I'm sure you can see, if we're using the same program schedule every week, the staff member who is actually programming the automation controller, it makes it much easier for that staff member because they have essentially a template to go on. and they don't have to think about recreating a program schedule, a new program schedule every week, which is where we are now. Also, excuse me, it also opens up the possibility for us to start producing and telecasting what we call promotional announcements. So we could have a station ID that says something like, Telecommunications Board, 4 p.m. Wednesdays on the Fayetteville Government Channel. And what does that do? That enhances our viewers' experience. It also gives us an opportunity to be more consistent with our message boards, and gives us an opportunity to be more consistent with our communication regarding our telecast schedule. This board meeting meets at 5:30, the third Thursday of every month. The meeting will play just as consistently as this board meets. And that will be the same for every single city board. This is a schedule you see every board meeting that we have on the schedule. So this is what we're going to implement coming forward in the first week of March. And we think that, so one question is, why did it take so long to do it? I mean, it was a goal that we set for the beginning of 2010. We worked very hard on this, and we ran into some roadblocks, but eventually we got to a point where we figured out how to overcome every one of those challenges. But we wanted to make sure that when we did do it, we did it right. And we didn't want to go into this thinking that when we implemented it, it was going to be half done. So we worked it, we tested it again. We really believe we have identified all of the red flags, all the things that might cause an issue to implement this, and we're good to go forward. And that's why it's taken a little bit longer than we first expected to do so. Do you have any questions regarding that?
First question, please, is when does the city council meets at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, as always, of course. When is the first rerun?
The first rerun of the city council meeting
Right.
would be the next morning at 6 a.m. The very next morning.
Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning.
So on weekday, he's saying like on weekday,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
broadcast live, is it going to be replayed at 6 a.m. the next morning?
Actually, it won't be replayed 6 a.m. the next morning. It will be replayed a week later.
A week later?
Yes, sir.
People get up and read the newspaper story, and back 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, the council meeting replayed at 9 a.m. the very next morning, when it's still news. And people got this little summary in the newspaper with a little bit of space they have. And for instance, the meeting this past week, what was it, 5.5 hours?
5.5 hours, yes, sir.
And I don't know how many times has it been rerun this week.
I would have to go back and check it. I would have to go back and check the schedule.
Watched, but what we've been doing most recently was running it following evening at the same time, on Wednesday evening.
No, that's not been a standard practice. No.
Since when? I mean, how long have we not been doing that?
I would have to go back and check our programming schedules.
But a year and a half ago or whatever, we were still running it, 2 years ago, we were still running it at 9 a.m. the next morning. And that's one of the things that this station has. We give complete reports, meeting, gavel to gavel meetings.
Yes, sir.
And there's no other way to get that information. Maybe on the internet, maybe for some people, and I know Granicus wasn't replaying everything, or it wasn't playing live a week or so ago. Would you tell us while we're at it, what happened there? Did you find out what the bug was?
Yes, sir, absolutely glad to. Basically, it was equipment failure. The computer the piece of technology that encodes the video and audio, that creates the digital files that then people can subsequently watch as streaming or video on demand. That particular piece of equipment failed, and we actually had it scheduled. We had the part overnighted, and we got hit with a snowstorm. And the information technology staff member showed me the route that took, but it was 2 days before we could get that back online. It is now back online. We're back streaming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we also have full video on demand capabilities with all that as well. Which I would also point out that every one of the meetings that we do is uploaded and available on Granicus within 48 hours of when the meeting has occurred through video on demand service. And that is also an important part of how this would be implemented, because that is available for people to utilize. We also provide, at no charge, DVD copies of meetings for people. At the end of every meeting that is telecast, we have informational credits that say on every meeting, for a DVD copy of this meeting, call 444-3434. And those copies are available at no charge.
Well, I can't imagine not running a council meeting as many times as it's been historically. I know in 08, they were running it 7 times a week, I believe, council meeting.
Out of curiosity, Mr. Giesler, how were you all determining, as Mr. Shepherd said, you know, it was planned 8 times in a week, how previously were you determining what meetings were played on what days? How was the schedule determined previously?
The schedule was determined basically just by doing it.
What was thought to be the demand?
There really was not a plan, and that was also one of the reasons why we have been motivated to try to establish a more regular program schedule. This is also in response to citizen comments that we have gotten through some of the city aldermen. The city's chief of staff, Don Marr, has communicated to me. Several residents have made comments that they would appreciate a more regular schedule. But no, there has not been a specific plan. This is how we're going to program the station.
To be very clear, I think this is fantastic. It's a huge stride. And your report shows all the stuff that you guys did over the last year, which you made huge strides with your staff. I think this shows that you guys are on target with a lot of big things for 2011 as well. I think this is huge. I know I personally, I wanted to watch a city council meeting, have to go to my TiVo and manually send the report at Tuesday at 5 p.m. and then set it to end at midnight. I had no idea when the meeting was going to end.
Yeah.
And, you know, with reruns and things like that. I think this is actually really fantastic, really huge. But as Mr. Shepherd mentioned, something that might be taken into consideration is, since the city council meeting is so crucial and frequently makes news, it might be something to consider as a way to also fit that into Wednesday as well.
Well, that's actually, I mean, that is why I wanted to share this with you, because I wanted to get feedback from you to see any possible issues that we possibly didn't see that you're identifying, so we can see if we can't implement those. The goal is going to be, however we may respond to some of this, is to maintain that goal of a consistent schedule. And one of the other reasons is that I've had several, I would say, more than a couple of dozen requests or comments from people that there's nothing in the program guide. If you are a subscriber of anything more than just a basic cable service, you get a program guide that comes up on your screen, and the government channel doesn't have a program guide. It just says local government all the way through, whereas other channels you'll see, you know, you can scroll forward or back and you can see what's going to be on. I'm hoping that once we are able to establish this kind of a regular program schedule, that we will be able to communicate that to the service providers, and then they can use that to establish that on-screen program guide so people can see that and utilize that as well.
It's fantastic.
You have a bit of a trade-off there, trying to find consistent programming with replaying the important meetings.
In conjunction with this, one of the things that we're working with our IT department on, and being very patient because they have a huge workload and they're short-handed, but is to be able to have our automation controller actually update the program schedule that is on the internet on accessfayetteville.org update it live. So if we make any changes to the program schedule, as you see, you have some of these things, blocks in here that just say informational programming. If we actually, when we actually schedule a program in that slot, so it might be History of the Beaver Water District. We're running a program right now regarding Beaver Water District. It's about 8.5 minutes long. When that is put in the schedule, we have the technology, we're just working on the connectivity for our broadcast system to actually update the schedule live, and then if you're looking at it on the internet, it be constantly updated live on the internet display of the program schedule. So we're working on that item as well, which I think, again, is another one of those things we're trying to enhance for our viewers. As we do that, we're also going to try to implement the very same thing for the public access channel, so they have that capability as well.
It's certainly a trade-off. Any other questions?
That's all I have to share with you regarding the government channel operations and the City of Fayetteville Television Center operations. As you know, we had some pretty severe weather events, but we continue to telecast and through all that, and which was tremendous, and provide services for our residents, those that could get out and about. I would tell you that I do have some other information to share with you when we get to the part of the agenda regarding complaints and comments.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
And the next item, we have no further comment, is the Public Access Television Board. The Executive Director, I don't see right in your board tonight.
It's great to be with you all tonight. I apologize that I wasn't able to be in the office today at your orientation building. I look forward to seeing you taking your classes. I'm going to be following you up with that.
Let's do it.
All right, we will. Well, it's very exciting what's happening at Fayetteville Public Access Television, and also, in addition, more media. For those of you who don't know, we launched our new name on public command on January 27th. You have your January report in front of you. I do want to apologize. I presented the annual report by email, but didn't think to re-present it, so it'll be included in your packet. I'd be happy to do that if you all haven't seen it already, but I will give you some highlights tonight. One of my board members and longtime colleagues has always given me the great advice of start at the end. There's so much that I could express to you about all that we went through as an organization, being a public access provider in 2010. But what I'll start with at the end of our annual report are the numbers. I think that's what first and foremost shines through, especially since at the last Telecom Board meeting, I did present our annual review, in which users were allowed to give feedback about how well we were doing our work. And a lot of that review segued into the annual report, so it'll be a bit redundant to repeat some of that. But I will tell you that for 2010, we telecast at Public Access Television a total of 6,559 hours of programming. That's 928 hours first run and 5,632 hours of repeat programming throughout the year. That means we averaged 126.14 hours of programming per week, 17 first run hours, and 108 repeat programming each week. That we telecast 7,542 plays of programs. That's 1,144 first run and 6,398 repeat plays of programming. So you'll see that there's a lot of repeat plays that are happening on Fayetteville Public Access Television. It's my personal goal as we increase our number of offerings, our number of new producers, that you'll see a balance by the end of this next year in that we have, if not more new programs, then at least a good balance of repeat versus new programming that's coming into the public access station. And there were 1,320 different programs played on Fayetteville Public Access Television, 1,144 first run and 1,167 repeat programs with some sort of overlap. The next information I want to provide to you, I think, is especially important when you juxtapose it to the goals that we have for this year, 2011. And that's the number of new producers that happened in 2010. As for certified producers, which for those of you who are new to the game, certified producers are people who have completed the required number of classes, and in 2010 also produced at least one program that aired on Fayetteville Public Access Television. So that number for the year was 23. When you look at that compared to what we're being asked to do in this current contract year, 2011, in which we would have 50 candidate producers, which is a little bit different. Those are people who have completed all the classes and are actively working to make their new show. So in an entire year, we made less than a fourth of what we plan to do this year. And I see absolutely no reason that we won't reach or fulfill that goal, if not double it. That would be my personal goal, but don't hold me accountable to that. The number of new local producers in 2010 was 9. A local producer, for those of you who are new to this, are folks who bring in, who make their own shows, not using Fayetteville Public Access or television center equipment, and bring it in and air it on the public access station. So we fell one short of our contractual goal of 10 with 9, but again, we're already seeing an increase in that, and I see as we publicize the work that we do and get more people energized and activated with public access television, that that number will increase as well. And the number of new programmer clusters was 10. So I would say, if you look at it as a whole, while we certainly met some of our goals of our contract and got close to that local, very close to the local producer goal, that those goals will be exceeded this year. And really, I think those goals were set based on the standard of operations that were sort of standard practice over the last few years, and those are being completely reworked. The number of new and repeat programs by certified producers was 493. The number of new and repeat programs by local producers was 131. The new and repeat import programs was 535. Import programs are programs that are not created or made by the person who asked that they be played on the public access station. Oftentimes there'll be religious programs or programs, Democracy Now!, for instance, is one of them. Promotional programs 10 and fundraising programs 1. I think the backstory to those numbers, though, that it would be silly for me to stand up here and not to acknowledge, is the huge internal challenges that our organization faced in 2010, and yet we were able to overcome those and stand here before you with the report for January 2011, of which I'm very proud, with a newfound excellent relationship built with the city and the staff of Fayetteville Public Access Television Provider, which is now Your Media, and an organization that is growing beyond just being that service provider. So I'd like to read you the conclusion from my own report, which I think sums that up. Community access television has navigated one of its most difficult junctures and come out to begin 2011 poised to meet the challenges of a new era of quality services for the residents of Fayetteville. I think if I could interject here, I think one of the major paradigm shifts that I'm seeing in the work that we do is going from a sort of us against them between the provider and the city to a strong partnership, and one in which we see not only that the clients we serve are the citizens and the residents of Fayetteville, but also our number one client is the city of Fayetteville. Because you are, or the city is, backing this incredible opportunity, this incredible gift to the community. And as the providers, it is our job to do the best we can to serve that client. And everyone wins, in my opinion, when we do a good job of that. Back to the previously written thing. Throughout the difficulties, the above numbers show that the service provider never faltered, and new leadership has emerged in 2010 with a renewed sense of direction, vitality, and positive partnership with the city of Fayetteville. The measure of any organization has never been its difficulties, but rather its sustainability and its ability to learn from those challenges and emerge stronger and more capable of making its mission a reality for those it serves. And that's where I see us today. CAT has done just that. With 18 years of public access stewardship under its belt and its eyes steadily focused on a healthy future, Community Access Television, now Your Media, closes the chapter on 2010 and begins a new book of excellent public access television for the city of Fayetteville. Any questions about our annual report before I move on to January?
I don't want to draw things out too long, but just real quickly, I do realize, and through in the facility that there's quite a few changes in making the
Yes.
transition from CAT to your media.
Uh-huh.
You sound awfully confident about meeting the contractual agreement of increasing those numbers. Just real briefly, how do you plan on doing that? How do you plan on going from numbers being a quarter or a third to even exceeding or double?
Well, we are following an incredible plan that was, I think, outlined in the contract with the city, and that is we are increasing the number of class offerings. I think I reported last time we are going from about 12 hours of classes per month in 2010 to some 60 hours of classes a month in 2011 once we're fully functional up to our teaching capacity. We have added a director of education. We are working really hard to do a great new website, to do incredible outreach, so that the public is very aware of these services. And I see no problem, and I have the confidence and backing of my director of education in meeting the goals and as outlined in the contract.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
And a quick for that, I think it does look very exciting.
It is. I hope that I really want to see you all down there. Any other questions about the annual report? All right.
If I may interrupt for just a moment, I would like to tell a little story that I think illustrates the new environment of partnership and commitment for both of our organizations, the city, your media as a contractor, to work together to move things forward for the benefit of our residents. And that is something that I think is something that everyone in this city is proud of. When the contract for 2011 for outsourced public access services was set to go before the city council in December of 2010, one of the stipulations in that contract was that only residents of Fayetteville, based on certain identification, basically the services are limited to residents of Fayetteville, which is a big change from what happened in the past. Well, there was a lot of people that have been active as producers, active as participants in the activities of public access television. And there was questions that were asked, can we make a change in this? What can we do about this? And through guidance, through city, not just city staff, but also people from your media and their staff, a resident, and knowing how he feels about things, I'm not going to identify him by name, but he went to a city council member. He went to Alderman Petty and said, can we make a change in this? It was on the consent agenda. Can we make a change in this? And Alderman Petty said, I think you're right, we should make a change in it. Alderman Petty brought it forward in that city council meeting. It was presented, and that change was made, which allowed people that had been active producers, active, involved in the activities of the public access channel to continue, even if they are not residents of Fayetteville. And I believe that right there, that amendment was made to the contract in the city council meeting by members of the city council, encouraged and contacted by producers of public access television, who were encouraged and to do so by staff of the public access, of your media, the public access operator, and city staff. And I think that illustrates that very well, that let's work together to make it work for everyone. And we're really proud to be able to tell that story of how the system works better now that where we are. Thank you.
It's a very exciting story. One of those moments at public access television, the television channel, where this gentleman came in and suddenly got high fives and was really rewarded for taking that kind of action, and it really needed to come from a citizen. It was citizen-driven, just like public access television should be. And that change happened was really exciting. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I think some 24 to 27, if I remember right, non-Fayetteville residents were grandfathered in as certified producers because of his actions. So I thought that was an excellent team effort. All right, moving on to January. We got some highlights that were based on our public access provider work, and also some highlights about our organization as a whole. I won't read this to you word for word, but I can say that most of January was a really strong and concerted effort by both Mr. Giesler, especially as the manager of the government channel at Fayetteville Television Center, and our staff to really dive in headfirst into this contract and make it walk the talk of the contract, make it work for us operationally, see what changes need to be made so that we really are the best public access provider that we can be, and fulfilling not only the contract, but meeting the needs of the Fayetteville residents who will walk into that building. One of the things that I want to brag about is we sat down as a staff, my staff, and Fritz, and had a very long meeting early on in the month where page by page, word by word, we had an opportunity to go through the contract. And as the organization that was responsible for fulfilling the contract and the representative whose contract it was, talk about what each of those steps would mean, see how we could make that real, what we needed to do, what kinds of follow-up meetings needed to happen. And my staff reported to me afterwards, some of them have been there 5 years, that in their entire tenure that had never happened. That a meeting like that amongst both staff and the city that really mapped out how this contract worked for both of us had never happened before. And that really kicked off the communication and the kind of work that we're doing together to make this a successful year. We followed that with weekly meetings, meetings between Fritz and whoever staff members are responsible for certain items that need to be done in the contract. And we're moving forward, launching the classes, making sure that we had them tweaked, making sure the curriculums were all what our client, the city, really wanted them to be. So, been very excited about all of that. It's been a big year of transition, or a big month of transition, and I think doing a great job of accomplishing the goals we set out in that first month. One of the things that I added to the report, especially since this year we'll be doing only Fayetteville residents, that I thought would be helpful to all of us, is the number of class participants and program requesters by ward. So I did want to highlight that, which is on page 2 of my report. So for the class participants, and again, these are classes that were newly launched. We've done very little outreach so far. We just received the exciting new, if you haven't had a chance to see it, you will soon, the new public access television logo. So we're actively working on launching the website, which should be launched within the next couple of weeks. So all of these numbers are done without very little outreach efforts so far. Ward 1, we've had no class participants so far. Ward 2, there were 4. Ward 3, there was 1. And Ward 4, there was 7. Are you Ward 4, Aubrey? What were you? 4? All right, see? You can really boost those numbers, just you two.
Not a requested program.
All right, well, there you go. The number of program requesters by ward, Ward 1, 3, Ward 2, 8, Ward 3, 4, and Ward 4, 7. I was very pleased with that. It is a pretty, even distribution. And this will help us as we move forward, not only in tracking for the City Council and the city who's investing in our work, how this work is spread out over the city, but also where our outreach efforts may need to be placed in the future, so that we're really bringing a good cross-section of the city into our facility. As far as organizational highlights, as you know, we changed our name. It's not legal yet. That process takes a few months. But we are now officially doing business as Your Media, and we'll be opening our own office in which we will provide non-public access television services for all of Northwest Arkansas. Our open house is actually next Thursday at 5. We're at 200 West Center, which is actually at Center and Church, and you'll enter on the church side of that building. Out of that building, we'll be doing services for non-Fayetteville residents, but we'll also be doing a lot of affordable contract reductions for organizations and nonprofits that may not be able to have Fayetteville residents or volunteers that can take the classes and produce their own video productions. We want to really supplement and expand the work of the public access television as a public access television provider. And we see it as a real great chance to grow the work that's already happening there and reach folks in different ways.
Excuse me, let me ask you a question related to this topic in general. I know I didn't find out about that we don't see the government channel no longer covers CAT board meetings live as they did 2 years ago. And or up until October of 2009, live in this room, as this meeting is on a different night. But with the cutback in the economy, apparently would have cost a few bucks to continue that. So CAT's been covering its own meetings.
Correct.
And I was wondering, it just has resulted in the last couple of months I have not seen one of the broadcasts. I have to catch it. Was this a board public interaction, or is this something separate from
The opening the second office?
what we call the CAT?
Sure, I'd love to explain that process. Yeah, from my perspective, when I came on staff in August of 2009, full-time in August, the organization, then CAT, was already in the process of a strategic planning process. It already held a couple of meetings, so I got to be in on the second half of that. I would say, and during that process, for the 5-year plan and 5-year goals, it was very strongly and unanimously articulated that we wanted to be not only a great public access television provider, but we wanted to reach beyond that facility and be able to be renowned in Northwest Arkansas as a great media organization where people could come and get our services. So that was sort of a 5-year goal that had already been set in place by the board and staff prior to my coming on board. I was part of that process. My background is in nonprofits and organizations, and have had a fairly good success in building strong nonprofit organizations. My personal assessment in coming on is that as a nonprofit, things were kind of done backwards in the sense, no offense to anyone who preceded me, but that this organization began as a nonprofit solely to be the public access service provider, and hence never had its own individual identity, nor did it have with that a real strong effort to create and sustain a strong nonprofit in the ways that nonprofits traditionally function in a healthy environment for a nonprofit. So in my opinion, it was sort of the perfect storm. Add to that the RFP came out for the next 5 years, and at that same time, the city was really pushing to better define public access television as how I started off my report to you tonight, that they really are the client, and this is a service that we are paid to provide for them that benefits the Fayetteville residents.
Well, yes.
Right.
Let's think about that a minute. When you say the city, sometimes people were talking about the city administration. Sometimes they include the city council. But when I talk about the city, I talk about every resident of the city.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
so. When
So I want to be clear.
The city is
from the hat of being an executive director of a healthy nonprofit, whether it's through a fundraising grant, or we have a major donor, or we have a contract with a client. This is how we earn our money, and this is the work that we do. So as a healthy organization, we need to best service our #1 contractor, where we're getting the bulk of our money. Now, if we are also to grow beyond that as the strategic plan outlined, and that was the intention of everyone when I came on board with this organization, as well as making sure that it became a healthy nonprofit, you matched out with the new defined needs of the city and the new contract, and it seemed like the perfect storm for us to not only do a great job in providing the services as the outsourced provider of public access television, but for us to go ahead and take that leap so that we were reaching our strategic plan, our vision for a healthy organization that could also serve the city and Northwest Arkansas with affordable and accessible media. So that's how it all happened. It was already, the foundation was laid, and these things happened that made it clear to me that this was the right time to do this. And in doing that, we better define ourselves. We can build a more sustainable organization and be a better access provider for the city, being the people with whom we have signed a contract.
I guess another question people may wonder,
go out.
The,
Your
from
media?
the same studio, the same.
No, that's a great question. Anything that is housed within the Fayetteville Television Center is the property of the city for use in public access services to residents of Fayetteville. So for us to do production work that makes us income, for example, we need to have as a nonprofit, our own equipment, our own location, where people are utilizing equipment and services that may not be just to produce shows for the public access television station. So it really is a separation of it. One of the things in the new contract, we were certainly allowed to continue to do contract production should we want to, using the city of Fayetteville equipment. And understandably so, if we did that, for fairness to other people in Fayetteville, we would need to offer those services at a fair market value, which as a nonprofit, trying to make media affordable to other nonprofits and organizations who may not be able to afford those rates, we can't do that using city equipment. So another reason why we need to have our own resources, equipment, and presence so that we can serve that part of what I think is an important part of our mission, to make video production affordable and accessible to nonprofits and organizations. That make sense? So it's really defining two different aspects of the work that we want to do.
Anyone else want to comment at that point? Well, if not, I will say that it's very ambitious to add any mission when you've got much greater requirements for producers, trained, and all these things that were debated in past years by the Telecommunication Board up until this year when we did not participate in the contract process. We were constantly discussing each year what numbers should be required, knowing the limits of 4 people on staff and excuse me, all the financial limits. So it's certainly ambitious, and as a professional fundraiser, you have the ideas and the expertise to make this happen. But I think no one of us would take on that.
I would just challenge one thing you said, Aubrey, and that is to add a new mission. We're not adding a new mission. As part of that strategic planning process, before the RFP was even released, the board voted in a new mission for 2011, which was that then CAP, your media provides the way for you to freely express yourself through media. So what we do as a public access service provider fulfills that mission. What we will do as our own organization, independent of that, in our offices on Church Street, will also fulfill the mission. So the mission is the same. It's just how we are living that mission out and providing those services that is definitely changing. And certainly the way we look at ourselves as a nonprofit and why we are in existence. And I don't think this is any new idea. In fact, our accountant, when I was talking to her, she's probably had the hardest job in all this transition, because we now have 3 different, with the trust account that's part of the contract, we have 3 different accountings that we have to do now each month versus just the one. But she said to me, you know what, I've heard for over a decade now, because she's worked with the organization so long, of wanting to move beyond just being a public access provider. But this is the first time I've seen it happening. So it's not a new idea. It's an idea whose time has come, and I'm committed to seeing it through.
Well, it may sound ambitious. I think it's a way to get outside that box of the current facility. When you talk about a nonprofit organization that wants to have their meetings or have their club meetings and things like that televised, such as Alliance Club or something of that caliber, when they don't have the resources to get everyone certified in the facility, this will allow your nonprofit, if I'm correct,
that too is, I mean, it's all going to be a win-win. If the programming that we're helping to produce through your media outside of public access television, because I'm a resident of Fayetteville, will of course be submitted to public access television as a program request. So we are increasing. I mean, our relationship is like this. We will increase the amount of diverse programming and that goes beyond just what's happening by the producers that use the television facility. So it's exciting opportunities. And yes, it is a challenge, but I think we're pretty set to make it happen. I feel good about it.
I think it's great. I think that if we can get people out to the house on Thursday, that really kind of help get things ignited. That looks really cool. Looks like you have some
Yeah, well,
good stuff in the show.
yeah, we'll be launching a couple of new ideas at that open house. So.
If I may say, in regard to that, I'd like to reinforce that even through the process and looking at the process of the RFP last year, the city administration, the RFP committee, which comprised 5 people, including Mr. Russell from this board, voted to award the contract for outsourced public access television services to community access television. And that was a vote of confidence. The contract negotiations as they went forward and as we worked together to get to a win-win on that was a vote of confidence, and the city is very confident. The city administration, I'm trying to be clear with that, Mr. Shepard. The city administration is very confident and very excited to be working with your media and Ms. Shelley and the entire board as they move forward with their endeavors, but we have every confidence that the goals and the performance criteria in the contract for 2011, that they will have no difficulty whatsoever in meeting those.
Okay, another thing that, if I may ask
Yes,
you,
please.
is it true now, anything going to be broadcast live on the station?
Sure. If a local or a candidate or certified producer wants to do a live show, absolutely. They just have to request doing so, and we'll schedule it, and it would happen.
Okay, how about board meetings? Are they going to be broadcast?
Now that's no, the board meetings will no longer be live. My understanding of why that happened was that as part of our contract, we are to uphold FOIA standards, which we are very committed to doing. And I think because also of some of the issues that happened over the past year with board meetings, and again, this is just my anecdotal understanding, that it felt very important that those be broadcast live to meet those requirements for FOIA. We will be taping all of them and broadcasting them on public access television, but there is not an FOIA requirement that board meetings be broadcast live. So we will be still fulfilling that requirement, but we will not be broadcasting live.
Well, some would maintain, I believe, that even if the find is not being totally under FOIA requirements here, if you raise the funding enough that you raise yourself, then the argument might be true, but right now it's primarily still financed by the government, taxpayers. Actually, it's theoretically the money comes for this. The ability to have the public stations comes from the cable companies years ago being required to provide. And the city collects now as well, fees as well from not only cable subscribers, but also from the AT&T that utilizes the right in our city to share these stations. And even though I don't think there's any federal requirement that they do so, but they have to compete. As long as some of us want to see our stations, we'll be going to the place to get them. But anyway, the question of Kentwood being live, as it used to be this litter live on a set date.
I guess I would kind of, again, I was the outreach coordinator in 1998 for community access television for 6 months, but after that, not very much involvement with it at all. So I'm looking at it as the requirements of the contract that I have signed on behalf of my organization. And I understand that as there are probably 2, and you can correct me if I'm wrong as a city administration representative, 2 to 3 other outsourced providers that the city contracts with to provide services for the city in the city's name, the wastewater being the main one. And I don't see any of those other outsourced providers being asked to televise live board meetings. I mean, we're an organization that will live up to FOIA, but as per my understanding of the contract, there's not a necessity for us to telecast our board meetings live.
Well, it may be.
Am I
I
correct?
understand. Well, I don't know what.
And again, I don't know what
Over the
happened in the
years,
past.
we
Yeah,
pushed to get things like A&P commission. They
Right.
were not being broadcast at one time.
right.
And we got that on the government channel.
And if I could take this opportunity to do a pitch for, we would love to help any group or organization who can't get their meetings telecast to provide affordable media services to film those and make sure that they are telecast on public access.
So you can have a projection of when you'll have the equipment to do stuff
Well,
outside of it?
we were talking at staff. We have editing equipment. We have a lot of the administrative equipment secured. We're still looking into the camera equipment. As we were talking about at staff meeting yesterday, with the inclement weather and the loss of days, we're about a month behind now on our goal. So now we're looking at the end of the first quarter versus what we had originally anticipated by the end of February. We would, for our open house, have those cameras and be able to do an on the public with them. But we're now changing that to by the end of the first quarter, we will be able to provide those services.
Is there any chance that CAT would be able to schedule, consistency is not the problem, but can they get their meetings, their schedule out more than a little faster, or not that, I think they do, they get it out on Friday or something, maybe.
The board meetings?
Send out, no, but
Oh.
the schedule of what's going to show.
Oh, the programming schedule? Yeah.
The problem is they're having to have all of it decided more than a week ahead of time, so that if even, I think your media showing itself has not been edited and prepared, but sometimes people will have things edited and ready, but they can't get them on the following week. So it makes it possible, say, person wants to use CAT to broadcast his opinion, his ideas on an issue that's coming before the city council. And he doesn't know about the issue significance until, a week or two ahead. But if he could do it this week, have it run next Monday, before the next council meeting, then you would have the ability to actually do that. And with, homemade equipment, now homemade equipment means an iPhone or something, that you
Right. Yeah.
quality up close, and you can put it right on there.
It's stipulated in the contract that any programming that is submitted will be telecast within 7 days.
Within 7 days.
It has to be put, if a person brings in a program or submits a finished program for telecast, it has to be put on the program schedule no later than 7 days from that date. So if somebody brought something in on Thursday, it has to be put on the schedule no later than the next Thursday. So there's a minimum, maximum of a 7-day delay. They strive to do it more quickly than that. I watch the process daily as their staff member who's responsible for doing that, but it's stipulated in the contract a maximum of 7 days.
And I think it would be a great opportunity for your person you described to use the short takes as you do, as a way to also, again, it airs the next week. That's right.
They've
It airs
been
the
live
next
for
week.
years, and I learned just, last month,
Right.
the first of the year, when did they stop being live?
At first of the year. So that was an internal decision based on our operations and the number of users that actually use live, and it's certainly not a contractual requirement that they are live. So.
Well, the only time they weren't live in past years has been the night before the election on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We never got to express an opinion live, and I would have been able to follow that rule, but if we had been doing our live short takes, like talking about a lot of other subjects, we don't have think these stations have the opportunity to do. Live broadcasting is so incredibly important that people do. And there's no way reporters used to. There were reporters for every little meeting. They had several reporters covering city business, competing in different towns. And so it was hard to have a meeting that didn't get some play in the newspapers a few years ago. Now, in fact, they did publish the government channel and the county channel schedule for quite a few years until 2008, I think, so that they stopped. They just didn't have enough space. They were shrinking the newspaper, and it wasn't getting typed up and ready. It was that they simply didn't dare put another page without ads on it. You know, it's what it wanted to do, a whole page of that, or have it.
Well, I personally think that live programming is one of the greatest offerings that we have for our producers down there. We have a couple of different series that are aired live every week, and would love to see more producers from work for so you guys producing live shows. I think that's one of the really exciting things that we do have at the Television Center is an incredible studio, and Fritz has done a great job to get us really wonderful equipment. In fact, this would be a good time to plug a workshop we're having a week from Saturday that Fritz is going to be doing on audio, including an in-depth training on a new audio board system that's part of the control room in the studio. So, yes, live shows are very welcome. I think they're some of the most exciting programming that we can offer. But we can do it. In my opinion, it's for the producers, the Fayetteville residents to do it. Certainly we can do it, but it's much more meeting our mission if the producers produce those live shows. Just a few, back to this really quickly, if you look at the number